And it's such a difference when you're being led by inspiration, because that's you being led by the light versus when you're being motivated to do something. Because when you're motivated, that's the external world and your ego and your fears and your desperations driving you to do something because the place you are in now is uncomfortable and you don't want to be there. Hey y'all, it's Chimdi. So I want to talk about how my hourly rate has changed from when I first quit my job a couple of years ago, back in 2021, to now, end of 2023 is when I'm recording this. So I'm a creative coach and I support artists and creatives. Right now my niche is YouTubers, though it's all types of artists and creatives, to show up consistently and authentically. And I've been coaching for a couple of years on my own, but I did the coaching at my last nonprofit role where I worked full time. And that was how I got my experience doing it. And so when I first quit my job, I was doing consulting for another company, doing not coaching and other kind of work, and my rate was $25 an hour, and now my rate is $200 an hour. And I want to talk about how over the course of like 2 years, I was able to sort of expand my capacity to receive what was essentially 10 times as much money for the same amount of time, right? I'm still trading time for money, but my rate has gone up way much more than I thought. So that's what we're gonna talk about in this video. Before we get into it, thank you Patreon people for the support. Love y'all. If you want some support with coaching, you can either put some one-on-one time on my calendar, or you can actually join my January challenge. It's a 30-day challenge to help you grow or launch your YouTube channel. We're gonna be together every day on WhatsApp with daily check-ins. We're gonna have weekly coaching calls, live trainings. We're gonna have editing sessions. It's gonna be a good time. So if you want support growing your channel or launching your channel and you're like 2024 is my year, you can click on the link in my description to join the challenge. And also subscribers, I love you, hi. Hi. All right, let's get into this video. So I truly have no notes. You know what I was just thinking about? Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. And you know how we're casually thinking about Martin Luther King, you know? And I was thinking about how he originally wrote a speech, and then when it came time to actually give the speech, he literally just ad-libbed. He literally just channeled that ish, right? And it became the speech that we all know and love, right? And so that is why am I comparing myself to Martin Luther King? Yeah. Yes. Because I could say no, but I literally am because I brought him up, right? Point being, I'm gonna channel like Martin Luther King did for this video. I really just, before I start my videos, y'all, I literally am like, Lord, whatever you wanna say, let it come through me, all right? This is your job. I am the vessel. You do the work. You script it. Let it come through me. My job is to be a channel, all right? Which is to say we're gonna be vibing in this video and I'm just gonna be reflecting and I hope it provides value. All right. I wanna talk about the two things that I think were the main factors in me making this shift over the last couple of years. The first, of course, is the practical element of like getting really good at something, feeling really confident in something, promoting it online, getting experience doing it, showing up, and then attracting what was a good fit for me. And the second thing is all of the healing energetic work that is necessary for you to be okay with and accept higher and higher and higher amounts of money. I'll watch people talk about, oh, I just had my first 6-figure month as a coach, right? Like I just made 100 grand in my business in 1 month. That's what I watch and look at and listen to, and I'm like, that's so nuts. And even with that, I listen to what they say and it actually makes sense to me because it's really just that they have a suite of products that they offer. They've built this audience, they have a team, and then they do a launch and they're able to bring in that money. So it is still relatively straightforward even with that. But I have to say, as someone who did used to be grateful and remain grateful for $25 an hour, I am aware of like, oh, I really actually have shifted to the point where I now ask and receive much more. And I wanna share because even though I'm not making 100 grand a month as a coach yet, my experience shows me that anything really is possible. And something I've been relearning as I've been rereading the Law of Attraction book by Abraham Hicks, is that experience is the biggest teacher. The words we hear each other say, the things we read can be so powerful, but when we live it and experience it ourselves and we see it's possible for ourselves, that's when it clicks and we're like, oh, like this is real. So I just wanna remind you of that. I do think words it's not even so much about my words, it's about the energy I am transmitting as you're watching this. So even words aren't even that important. But I want to emphasize your own life experience will teach you that all of this is possible for you too. And then as you start walking in that direction and seeing the evidence, that will grow the momentum and then it'll happen for you as well. So it's really beautiful once you start to experience it, and that is totally possible. Let's talk about some of the energetic stuff, because the practical stuff is honestly less important. Like, that's one thing I'm realizing too, is I used to really wonder what is the ratio between my actions and my efforting and my hard work and the energetic work that needs to happen to make something, you know, allow it to come into my life. I really wasn't sure. I was like, is it 50-50? Is it 70-30? I truly think it is 99% energy and 1% effort, because the energy is what allows it to come into alignment. Anyone who's done something creative or something that they really like knows what I'm talking about. Like, when you do something that you really enjoy doing, it literally doesn't feel like work because you love it. So it's not efforting, it's not resisting, it's not hard. Apparently something the Buddha said, do not quote me, I'm quoting the Buddha and do not quote me, I'm quoting the Buddha, is 3 words: easy is right. Which is amazing. Like, when we're forcing something, we can automatically know something is out of alignment. And so in my experience, when I have tried to effort and force things and work super hard, it's because there was some kind of fear driving me. When I then did the energetic healing work to process and release that fear, things were so smooth and came so easily, and these opportunities dropped into my lap. So both the consulting gigs I'm referencing, neither of them I like applied for. You know, I literally don't really believe in applying for jobs anymore, I have to be honest. Like, I've gotten so many opportunities from people being attracted to me that I'm like, and I've applied for so many things that I haven't gotten, that I've just created a rule for myself, which is I don't have to apply for jobs. Jobs come to me. And that's one of those belief systems that is so helpful to have. Like, if we understand and believe that what we believe is our life and is our destiny and is our reality, to have a belief system that's like, literally I vibe and money and opportunities and employment and resources and support just come to me, like, that's one of the best ones to have. And this would be my advice, as soon as you have one moment that affirms that for you, where you are minding your business and then you get an opportunity, like, connect that energy so hard and just build the momentum of that energy, because that is the best one to have. Is like, I don't have to do anything for my blessings. They just come to me naturally. So both these opportunities, I was minding my business and someone was like, hey girl, can we give you money per hour to help us do something in our company? And both times I've been like, sure. Both times I also didn't negotiate. So the first time the company said, this is the rate. And I accepted from a place of genuine gratitude. I didn't accept it thinking, oh, I'm being underpaid. Oh, this is unfair. Oh, I'm overqualified for this. My energy then, so I think is also really important, is that we maintain the same energy and then we just grow it. My energy then was like, this is so easy. And I am being paid really well for something that is so easy to me. And I think that is so important, is that your frequency will just attract whatever you want. And so whether it's $25 or $200 an hour, my frequency has always been the same. And I feel the exact same way getting paid $200 an hour. I'm like, this is so easy. Like, this is amazing. Like, what a blessing that I get to do this, you know? And so when I was doing that $25 an hour job, like I said, it was in alignment. It wasn't in alignment for a while. It was in alignment for maybe a handful of months. And then it did start to kind of rough some edges, you know. It did start to be a little bit like less comfortable to keep doing it. And it was because I felt like I wasn't really maximizing my potential. And I think that's the thing with feeling uncomfortable, is sometimes we feel uncomfortable because we know we're not doing enough. And sometimes we feel uncomfortable because we're being asked to do too much and it's overwhelming. And it's really important to be able to discern the two, because in that instance, it was that I was doing too little and that was actually uncomfortable. Stepping out of that opportunity and really trusting and really knowing like another opportunity will come is what allowed me to then be in a position where now I can, you know, easily accept $200 an hour. When it came to accepting this second consulting gig, it was, what is your rate? And I think that also speaks to the energetic shift, to go from someone telling you this is how it is to you being in a situation that says, you let me know how it is. And that isn't scary or freaky or overwhelming, but is actually empowering and actually feels right and actually matches your energy because you understand that that is how it works. You tell them how it is, right? It was really cool to see like, oh, I've actually made this shift. And I had the nervous system that could handle that amount of money. One thing people always talk about is how like lottery winners, they'll often be like broker than where they were before they won all that money because they didn't really have the belief systems and the nervous system that said, I am worthy of all of this money. And so, yeah, I belong. I should have it. And that way it doesn't just sort of slip through their fingers, you know? And that's what the healing work really does, is allow you to be able to have a nervous system that can hold bigger and bigger and bigger amounts of money. Because for me, I remember I got this one opportunity and I was supposed to get paid $100. I was following up with them because it had been a couple of weeks and I was like, hey, just following up with the $100. The payment lands and it's twice as much. They pay me $200. The way I was on the ground sobbing in gratitude, I was so grateful. I was so grateful. From $100 to $200, I've spent more on Uber Eats in a week, but I was sobbing in gratitude because of this miracle. And I think consistently connecting to that energy of like, oh my gosh, what a blessing this is what allows you to really clear out the parts of you that feel scared and feel like, when will I ever see another dollar again? Especially as a creative person where you truly are operating on vibes. Not necessarily, you can be a creative person and not be operating on vibes. I am a creative person who operates on vibes. To be a creative person who operates on vibes and to not only get $100, but to get $200 for also doing something very easy. I'm also a big believer in not like working. Like I should never be sweating. I should never be struggling. I shouldn't really be like overwhelmed. Things should all be pretty easy. And I'm just getting paid more and more money. That's my personal journey when it comes to capitalism and work. But yeah, I believe that being able to foster that energy, and then also time and time and time again when I have some kind of block. And in my experience, it's usually tied to pretty intense memories from childhood of something involving not having enough money, having to give my money away, feeling like my money was being taken from me, feeling like I didn't have freedom when it came to money, just general insecurity about like, am I safe? Am I okay? Do we have enough money? Like all of that. Usually like there's deeper and deeper and more buried memories that I've like, you know, buried. And now they're like kind of coming up to the surface to be presenced and released. And every time I presence and release, it's this huge wave of relief that like rolls through my body. And not long after, there's some kind of abundance that comes into my life because I'm now okay with, I am already safe and good. I don't need this money to make me feel safe and good. And so when it does come, I'm able to hold it lightly. I'm able to welcome it in versus having that energy of desperation that we know repels the things that we want to attract. So I've made a few videos on my channel that are all around like doing healing processes around money. And I actually had the wonderful, what was her name? Taylor. I had the wonderful Taylor actually leave me a comment on a video I made, and it was these different books to help you heal your relationship to money. And I love when people watch my older videos because then I watch my older videos and I'm like, what was she talking about? And it's always something very relevant. And in that video, I shared the Joe Dispenza mind movie technique. So I'll just link that video in case you want to see it. In another video that she watched of mine, she left a comment saying, hey, I did the technique you talked about and immediately got 2 deposits. And I was like, yes. And I love my favorite thing, y'all, if you ever want, because sometimes it can feel a little bit uncomfortable because it feels like bragging to talk about, oh, I just made a bunch of money and I'm like really excited and I want to celebrate. And it can feel like, okay, who am I going to celebrate it with? Who I know like really will get it and will celebrate with me. If you ever want someone to do that with, I am your girl. I am your girl. I have a friend of mine, we call it money normicals, you know, because miracles should be normal. So they're money miracles, but they're normal. So yeah, she left me a comment being like, hey girl, I got this money. And I'm like, yeah, celebrate with me whenever you want. Because also whenever someone else gets money, I see that as me getting money. I literally see anyone in my, because for something to be in your awareness, it means you must match the frequency in some way. So if it's in my awareness that someone's out here getting money, I'm like, ooh, getting money is in my frequency. And we love it. We love it. I do just briefly, want to talk about the 1%, which is actually being good at something and providing value and promoting yourself such that people know you are an expert in whatever it is that you're doing, and then they come to you and you feel confident saying, yes, pay me this amount of money because I know I can deliver. And that is one of the best feelings in the world, is to not have any bit of imposter syndrome, but to be like, no, I'm really good at this. It is my favorite feeling, is like, yeah, I'm really good. I'm really good at this. You're welcome. And so I want to talk a little bit about that. And in my experience, it is about coaching, right? So that's what I'm getting paid $200 an hour to do. And I've been coaching for like, 7 years or whatever, right? And I've gotten better and better. I've gotten to practice with a lot of people. I have my own coaching practice. I've coached as a private organization. I do my own healing work. So that's just whatever your vocation is. That's just being committed to being the best you can be at your vocation, and knowing that there is no ceiling, and being excited that there is no ceiling. There is no end point where you're like, I've done it, I've mastered it, I'm the perfect coach, I'm the perfect whatever, I will never get any better, I'm the top of my game. It's like, the top of my game is now my floor, and now I'm gonna keep climbing and get even better and better. And that doesn't feel scary or annoying or overwhelming, but feels really exciting. So I think that's a good way of gauging if you're even in the right path, is if getting better and better and better and better infinitely at that thing is really exciting to you, versus, oh, I just wanna get really good at this thing so I can coast and then just be bringing in the money, And the second part of it is actually putting yourself out there so that people know that you are an expert in whatever it is you're talking about. With the $25 an hour gig, I was a part of a community, and in that community, because I had experience running my own kinds of communities like that, I knew how amazing it is when people participate, when people show up, people post, people leave comments, people engage. Like, if you're the one running a community, it is amazing when someone is actually actively engaged, right? And so I knew I was doing a favor truly to these folks by engaging in that way. And I also genuinely like to engage. So it's really important to do the things that you also like to do and would do anyway. And I wasn't doing it to get something out of it, I think it's so important to really understand if we're doing something to get something, or if we're doing it because we just like doing it. And that was a really powerful definition of inspiration versus motivation that I heard, where it's like, motivation is like, okay, I'm motivated to do this thing, maybe to do this hard thing that I don't want to do because I know it will get me to this other goal, right? Versus inspiration, which is what just kind of flows and drops in, which is like, I want to do this thing. Like, it'll just make me happy to do it, so I'm just doing it. And it's such a difference when you're being led by inspiration, because that's you being led by the light, versus when you're being motivated to do something. Because when you're motivated, that's the external world and your ego and your fears and your desperations driving you to do something, because the place you are in now is uncomfortable and you don't want to be there. And so understanding, like, am I inspired to do something or am I motivated to do something, because they are not the same, I think is really helpful. One thing that also really helped me in getting the $200 an hour gig is the way I position myself as a coach. So as a creative coach, my emphasis really is on how to get you to show up consistently and authentically. And what does that mean for you? And what's stopping you? So a lot of the work is sort of this deeper inner healing work. And I'll help you with strategy, and we can talk analytics, and we can talk about best practices and tips and all of that. But I really believe that the main thing is the inner work. And so I talk about that on my YouTube, on my Instagram, on my LinkedIn. That is where I'm sharing from. There can be a temptation, and I'm leveraging it in this video. There can be a temptation to just talk about numbers and money and all of these kind of flashy external markers of success that activates people's fear, to get them to click and engage. But ultimately, if that's the reason people are engaging with you, it breeds a certain level of fear and desperation and all these things. I remember there was a woman, I think she went back to making those kinds of videos, but she was a YouTube creator who made videos about YouTube and about making videos and growing your channel and all these things. And she made a video about why she was gonna pivot. And she talked about how having a kind of topic that was about how to get more subscribers and views and brought people to her who were so desperate and so demanding and so pushy. And it basically made it so that her community wasn't a community she actually liked. And I do wonder about that, because she did go back to making them kinds of videos. So I don't think the pivot had the kind of external success that she wanted, but how we show up will bring the kind of people that we want. And that's part of why I really love my community, is because I've had videos go super viral and I love it and we love the success. It's amazing. And I have videos, I was just reflecting on this and I was like, trying to think if I want to make a full video about this because it is kind of marvelous to me. When I put out a video, it is guaranteed that some people are gonna see I've uploaded and just click on it. Like, they don't even need to know what's going on. They don't need to know the topic. Literally, they see I've uploaded and they click. That is amazing. That is so freaking cool. And I know that's because of the way I've cultivated myself and my channel over the course of these years. So they know what to expect from a Chimdi video, whether it's gonna be a vlog or a tutorial or me sitting down and chatting or something else. There's a certain frequency that my videos communicate, and that's a frequency that they like and that they relate to and that they want to have a part of, you know? I think it's so important whenever we are looking to grow and expand, especially when it comes to stuff around money and other really thorny topics, is that we remember that ultimately we want to live a life where we are surrounded by great people, where we have great opportunities, where there's a lot of love and joy and laughter and peace. And if we're showing up in a way that isn't aligned to that, we're not going to get the results that we want. And so the important thing to me truly is always about the energy. I hope this has been helpful. I didn't do any scripting. I let the Lord do the scripting. Let me know in the comments if it was. If you want to hang out for 30 days in January, click on the link in my description box to join my YouTube challenge. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye.